Perhaps you do not have a lot of money to set aside for the purposes of saving, for the sake of you investing it for you to reach that ultimate goal that you're aiming. You know, on this channel, I love to be as realistic and real as much as possible. Okay, let's talk about, for example, okay, I come from Kenya, that's for sure. And when I check the average income in our country, you will realize that most of the people don't add a huge chunk of cash. Should we leave them behind? No, we shouldn't. Today, I'm going to share with you how exactly can you contribute as little as 500 Kenyan shilling only. And this is just like $5, by the way. And by the way, those guys who are telling me don't be using Kenyan shillings at the same time, I totally understand you. I'm working on that. But the point is, please get the concept and you can actually utilize it in your country. If you're using a beer, if you're using kwacha, rand, if you're using pula, if you're using naira, whatever the thing that you're using in your country, get the concept and then you can marry the concept and then you can apply it in your particular country. So the point is, on this video, I'm going to share with you how exactly do you contribute as little as 500 Kenyan shilling and be able to reach the ultimate goal of 2 million. By the way, let me tell you one thing. Reaching the first million is the hardest thing. You do it alone. Nobody is there for you. You have to sacrifice a lot. All right. So let me not talk much. Let's get into the business. But before we do that, this is Good Joseph speaking. In case you're watching me for the first time, I make these videos pertaining to investment, making money, investing it, and how to grow it and move to the next level. And guess what? Here, what we do, we go ahead and subscribe to make sure that you get to be notified whenever I upload a new good video, because I do so each and every day. Of course, don't leave. Make sure that you don't leave the comment section untouched. Leave a comment on the comment section. I have something to learn from you as well. Let's get into the business now. Okay, here with me, I got this board to sort of illustrate exactly what I'm talking about. Let's be practical as much as we can. Now, the point is this: before you even do anything, pick yourself a pen and paper and get yourself a calculator. It can be your phone, or you can even pause this video first, go on the calculator. And this is what I want you to do. See, if you contribute 500 Kenyan shillings each and every day, of course, in a month, that is 15,000, isn't it? Okay, it's 15,000. And if it's 15,000, of course, that adds up to, say, if you multiply this by 12, because a year is made up of 12 months, unless you, anyway, let me not get there. So now the point is, you're going to have yourself 180,000 at the end of the year. What did I do? Say, I took 500. There are three options of calculating this. You can take 500 multiplied by 365 days, because a year is made up of 365, then exemption of a leap year. So you're going to get yourself 180,000. Or option two, you can take the 500 multiplied by 30 multiplied by 12, right? Because it's 30 days in, and it's made up of what? 12 months. Now you're going to get yourself a what? 180,000. So if you go ahead and take this 180,000 multiplied, I'm assuming I'm explaining this for the sake of people who do not invest. They just say, of which we do not advocate, okay? Now, so if you take 180,000, multiply that by, say, 7 years, you're going to get yourself, because definitely we're going to use a period of 7 years for us to achieve this particular target. And I know you'll be like, oh my goodness, Joseph was saying, I thought we're going to reach this goal in 7 months. Oh, come on, let's be real. Wealth creation, it's a period. It takes time. It's not an event. It's a process. You have to be intentional. You have to pump in. Oh, you thought 7 years are long? Okay, let me ask a very simple question. We had a general election in this country back in 2022. And guess what? We're heading to 2025. Those are 3 years down the line. 2 years, we're going to be a next general election. And by the time we realize, boom. Do you know what it means, 7 years? If you live here living in Kenya, the president that you have right now won't be completed the 2 terms. It is what it is. For example, in 2 months' time or in a month's time, we're going to having an election in the US. The Donald Trump or whoever going to win that particular thing, or Kamala or whatever going to win that thing, ain't going to go for the 2 terms. The 7 years are there. So the point is this, it's not a long period of time. So take this 180,000 multiplied by 7, you're going to get yourself 1,200,060 something, whatever. Something like that, 200,060. You're going to get, in short, 1.260 million. That's what you get. That is your short of 2 million of what we are targeting on this particular video. Now, how exactly can you be able to reach that amount of money? And by the way, if you can be able to save more than 500, well and good, you're going to achieve this target way earlier. And by the way, these are the 2 things that you're supposed to use. If you do not have a huge chunk of cash, leverage on time. If you have a huge chunk of cash, of course, you can buy time. And these are the occasions where I say, by the way, you can somehow buy time. Okay, now here we go. So what we do, instead of saving, this is the savings method. If you go the savings way, now, instead of us going the savings way, let's go the investment way. Okay, what does it mean? First of all, we don't want to put our money into an area whereby it's not giving us liquidity, meaning we cannot access our money at any given time. Okay, so anything that maybe you are buying shares, anything that you are doing that, so that is not our option at this particular point, because we need liquid cash at a certain particular period of time. Okay, so we need to keep ourselves as liquid as we can. So the only areas where we can be able to invest are three. One is the government securities, that's the treasury bills or the treasury bonds. Are we together? And the last thing, or the other thing that we can invest on, is the money market fund. Money market fund, this is whereby now, you know, companies collect money from different individuals, they take it and then they invest it, and then they give you the percentage out there. And of course, what they take is the management fee and what have you. Are we together? So we have three options: one, bills, bonds, and MMF. Now, the question is, now which one should we pick? Now, this is what I want you to do. For example, if we pick bills and bonds, of course, it's known, or they are known. First of all, we aren't that liquid. We cannot access that money at any given time. Again, here depends with the personality. If you would like to put your money whereby you cannot access it because you know, as far as your character with response to money, you do not have a good, you know, what do you call a track record, then you can put it aside. Okay. I mean, you can put it aside somewhere whereby you cannot access it. But remember one thing: bills and bonds in Kenya may give you quite of a high interest rate, but they do not give you a compound interest. They give you a simple interest. For example, if you get into a bond which is giving you 17% or 16%, you already know that that particular interest going to remain constant throughout that period of that particular bond. If you got the MMF way, of course, it gives you a slightly lower interest, say at 13.5% or 13%, but it gives you the compound interest. And this is the trick that I want to teach you today. Now, people tend to ask me a question: between bonds and MMF, which one is the best, Joseph? Let me draw a line. If, say, you want to invest for only 1 year, let's say you have a million shilling, let's say you have 100,000, let's say you even have 50,000, you want to invest for only one single year, you can go either the bills way or the bonds way. Well, if you have a bond that goes for only 1 year, which is a bit tricky, bonds will talk of about minimum of 2 years. Okay, so if you invest for only 1 year, go for the bills or the bonds if you can get any, because it gives you slightly bigger interest. But if you want to invest, say, in a period exceeding 4 years and above, think about something that is giving you a compound interest. Why? For instance, let's have two people. Let's have you who was watching me. Let's say you are Mother or Martha or whatever. And me and you, we have a million shilling. Okay, we want to invest. So the Martha gets to invest in something called the treasury bonds. And this treasury bonds is going for 6 years, for example. Now, it means the mother, she's gonna be having, say, 16%. 16% of a million is 160,000, isn't it? Okay, it's 160,000. I'm gonna get myself into a money market fund. My interest rate is 13%. She's getting 16%, I'm getting 13%. Obviously, she's above me. So at the end of the year, she's gonna get her 160,000. I'm gonna get my 130K at the same particular year. Of course, Mala will be like, yay, I got more interest than you. Fine. So let's go to the next year. The next year, Mother's still gonna get the 16 point, or rather she's gonna get 160,000, and I'm gonna get what? Guess what? The 130,000 that I had before, I can plow it back into the same thing. If I'm not withdrawing my money, I can plow it back. I throw it in. Now I'm gonna be having my 1 million plus the 130,000 subjected to 13%. So I'm gonna get more. Probably I'm gonna be at around 140,000 thereabout. Okay. Now I'm only 20K below who? Martha. Let's go for the third year. Now, my 140,000 plus the 130,000 plus my initial million subjected to 13%, probably I'm gonna at par with Mother at 160. So maybe let's say at the third year, or maybe let's say at the fourth year or something thereabout, I'm actually at par with Mother with what she's getting, because I'm getting the compound interest. When we come to the fifth year, I'm getting more than her. When it comes to the sixth year, the language is different. So when you want to make a decision of which one to pick to invest, just understand: am I looking for a longer period of time? Leverage on the compound interest. Am I looking for a short period of time? Of course, leverage on the percentage, be it either a simple or a what? A compound. Are we together up to that particular point? For this case scenario, you can still use, okay, there is an argument of, hey, I can invest that for million, I get 160,000 at the end of the year. And of course, the bonds don't give me the compound interest, but I can take 150 out of this 160 and throw it again in a new bond for me to earn the interest. Of course, there is that argument. Okay, but the point is, on these illustration purposes, for us to get from the 500 to 2 million, I used an example of a what? An MMF for me to illustrate this. Now, this is what you're gonna do. You're gonna pick an MMF that works for you, of course, or any other thing that gives you a compound interest, and our target will be around 13 to 13.5% or thereabout. And if you get more than that, well and good. In Kenya, we do have MMFs that are giving you way bigger returns, like talk of in language of 18%, of 17%. Okay, but always make sure that you verify a company before getting your money into that particular company. Make sure that the company is actually registered under the CMA, that is Capital Market Authority of Kenya. Make sure that particular company again adheres to all the rules and the regulation pertaining to the money market fund. Where are they investing? You know, by law, money market fund, they're supposed to invest on bills, bonds, or no, bills. They're supposed to invest on the, you know, FDS and, you know, corporate bonds, and of course the commercial paper and what have you. All right, see now, see if you throw in your 500 shilling each and every day, you throw in there, of course it's 15,000. Now the year one, you gotta get yourself 180,000, and of course you subject this to a percentage of 13.5% or thereabout. Of course that means that you're gonna get yourself roughly 21,000. You can verify this. That's why I say take yourself a pen and paper and a calculator. Now that means you're gonna get yourself a 21,000 ish or something. Let's just say even 20,000. So you're gonna end up with yourself at least, you know, 200,000, isn't it? Now here we are, that is the year one. So the year two, you're gonna have the existing 200,000. Remember, you're still doing the continuous contribution of your 500. So you're gonna get the year two, there's 200 that you had initially plus the fresh 180,000. Total of that subjected to 13.5%. You're gonna end up with that amount of money or close to that amount of money. I understand there's this issue of the money deposited yesterday gonna make less than what was deposited a week ago or something or so, but roughly that is the figure that you're gonna play around with. Okay, and the second year, of course, it's that figure that you have, the fresh figure, or the current figure that you have in a, you know, in that investment account plus the fresh 180 subject that. So you're gonna see how those numbers gonna be turning. Okay, I just reached to the year four, but I just wanted to sell this a simple concept. By the way, I don't know whether there's something you guys have noticed I'm trying to do here. Okay, you might say, Joseph, isn't that what you talked about last time? Indeed it is. I'm trying to sell this idea of compound interest because most of the people ignore it. It is a very, by the way, a very great individual who used to live back then by the name Albert Einstein. For the physicists, they know who that guy is. He said that compound interest is like the eighth wonder of the world. For those who understand it, they can take advantage of it. For those who do not, guess what happens now? They pay huge about that thing. So the compound interest is one of the biggest things that you can leverage on. Is that thing that you can, if you can actually leverage on that thing and try as much as you can, I'm telling you, you can achieve the greatest things that have ever be out there. All right, so if you contribute yourself into this manner in that particular period of time, you're gonna earn yourself a quite of a reputable interest and a huge chunk. And guess what happens now? By the time now you're clocking the seventh year, guess how much you're gonna end up with? You're gonna end up with 2,080,312.61. That's the amount of money that you're gonna end up with. Unlikely or different from if you were to just save without investing, you're gonna end up with 1.26. That's like you're getting a fresh 800,000 on top of that. Now that 800,000, you didn't work for it, you didn't do nothing for it. For example, if by our effort we are contributing 180,000, here we've gotten say around 800,000. That's what we've gotten. Now ask yourself, if you were to take that 800,000, divide that by 500, tell me how many days that you didn't have to work but you've gotten that money. Or you can divide 800,000 divided by 365 and check out how many years or an year that it actually is more than 1 year. Why? Because see, if you're getting a 180,000 per year, so the year one, the year two, you have a lot of time that you haven't actually worked for yourself, but you've gotten interest out of that particular amount of money. Okay, so guess what, guys? You can even forget what I've just said on this video. But the point here, the ultimate point here is this: no matter how much you have, no matter how much you can set aside. For example, in Kenya, we do have a money market fund that you can actually even invest with as little as 100 shilling, just 100 shilling. And I always tell people this: Even if you get that 100 shilling in the morning, afternoon, at the evening, whatever the time, you get that 100 shilling, you collect it on the way, somebody gives you, whatever. Whenever you get that particular amount of money, just throw it into an investment. Do not look back. Okay, let me tell you one thing. Yes, nobody knows exactly the concept of becoming wealthy. Nobody, including me. I do not. We do not have a specific, there is no way I can tell you that, hey, open that door and be sure once you open that. So the problem is just open that door and once you get in by virtue of that, then you're wealthy. That's a lie. The point is nobody knows exactly. For example, when I started this YouTube channel, well, I had the belief and the faith and the zeal that it's gonna be successful. Okay, it's gonna do something. It's gonna be somewhere. I'm gonna be talking to people. I was not 100% sure. I was not. I was trying. So what do? We control the controllables. Nobody knows. Nobody can come here and purport to know, like the guy has a manual of life, like knows every answer to the success and something. Nobody knows that. What do? We control the controllables. We manage that what we have and try to mimic those people who have been successful in life and are successful in life. We mimic them, and we've actually tried these methods, usually works. That is exactly what we do. Did I promise you if you apply this formula, then boom, you're gonna be wealthy, you're gonna be, I'm not promising you that, but I'm telling you, if you dare do this, at least I know if you continually do that, you're gonna get your 2 million. I do not know whether the 2 million to you means wealthy and success and whatever, but I know if you apply this formula, you're gonna end up with this. And let me tell you one thing, things changes with time and things advance with time. It depends. Probably 2 years from today, 3 years from today, this ain't gonna be the best way to invest. That's why we have to keep on reading and make sure that you pick somebody who actually talks about finances, investments, and what have you, so we learn from each other. And that's why I always encourage you, make sure that you leave a comment on the comment section. Why? Just like an iron sharpens another iron, so do we learn from each other. This is Good Joseph speaking. And in any case you would like to have a conversation with me, I'm delighted to have a call from you. My number is always on the description of this specific video. For just a cup of coffee, we go ahead and get engaged. For now, it's a goodbye and see you in the next one.